Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. I am Winda, and in this opportunity, I would like to present my seminar proposal, and with topic as TPACK Profile of Pre-Service Teachers of English Education Study Program Universitas Jambi. Okay, and in my proposal there are 3 chapters, and I would like to present in this time. The first is chapter 1 about introduction, chapter 2 about review and related literature, and then chapter 3 about method of the research. Okay, I go on to the chapter 1. In the chapter 1 there are 5 points, and the first is background of the research, and then the research questions, and the third is the purpose of the research, and the fourth is limitation of the research, and then the last is the significance of the research of study. For the first, in the background of the research, in this digital era, people have used technology as a means to convince of day-to-day work. And the reason why I choose this topic is, my reason is the lack of research on TPACK students, readers of pre-service teacher in Universitas Jambi, specifically in English Education Study Program in Universitas Jambi, is so many little. There are not too much the research about this topic, so I choose this topic. And then the second is the research question. My research question is, how is English pre-service teachers' understanding of TPACK? And then my purpose in this research is to describe pre-service teachers' competency of TPACK in English Education Study Program at Universitas Jambi. And then this research limits of English Unja who have implemented PLP or similar teaching practicum in the English Education Study Program at Jambi University. There consists of English language education students. And the last part is the significance of this research is to identify how far the level of competency pre-service teacher for English language study program in TPACK at Jambi University. Okay, we next to chapter 2. In this chapter 2, I want to present about review of related literature. The first is the concept of TPACK. The concept of TPACK, the technological pedagogical content knowledge, attempts to identify the nature of knowledge required by teacher for technology integration in their teaching, while addressing the complex, multifaceted, and situated nature of teacher knowledge. This is according to Mishra and Kohler, 2006, in page 100, 1124. And then in this part, TPACK consists of 3 main components of teacher knowledge. Specifically, there are content knowledge, pedagogical content knowledge, and technological knowledge. Content knowledge is teacher knowledge of the student matter To be tough including knowledge of concepts, theories, ideas, and organi- and organizational framework, and etc. And then pedagogical knowledge is it's a deep endemic form of knowledge which involves comprehending teaching process and methodology. And the last is technological knowledge. It's greatly dynamic in nature, more than the other fundamental knowledge domains in the TPACK framework. And next is the concept of pre-service teacher. Pre-service teacher is a prospective teacher, is someone who is prepared to share the knowledge he has acquired during his students' studies from elementary to college level. As a pre-service teacher in this 21st century era, what must be more prepared is covering technology. In this part, pre-service teacher is someone who is prepared to share the knowledge he has acquired during studies from elementary to college level. And the third part is the concept of teaching, TPACK in TEFL. The definition of teaching. Teaching is a complex activity and doesn't just convey information from the teacher to students, but contains many actions that must be taken so that learning outcomes are expected. And the next is the concept of teaching, TPACK in TEFL. According to Sulman 1987, initiated the concept of pedagogical content knowledge, or PCK, in which he integrate different types of knowledge, such as content knowledge, pedagogical knowledge, and knowledge of contents into a type of knowledge inclusive, applicable to teachers. In this, on page 126. And then in this part, teacher could readjust each individual student's learning according to their progress recorded and their portfolio on system. Beside that, a strong TPACK also helps EFL teachers to identify students' problem and enhance communication and relationship between teacher and student, also among students. Okay, the next part is in chapter 3. In chapter 3, I would like to present about method of the research. The first is validity and reliability. Validity. In this study, researcher will use face validity. Face validity is a test conducted to show that statement items have the impression of being able to reveal or research concept to be measured. And then the reliability. In this part, the main purpose of the research instrument reliability test is to measure the consistency of the measuring instruments used by quantitative researchers. And in the other words, researchers instruments such as questionnaires is said to be reliable of the instrument can provide consistent score result on each measurement. And then the research designs. This will use a quantitative approach. The quantitative approach research process starts from theory, hypothesis, research design, selecting subjects, collecting data, processing data, analyzing data, and writing conclusion. And then the population and sample. The population is that researchers use or take is all students of English education at Jambi University. The total population of English students at the University of Jambi is about 580 students. And then the sample that the researcher will take is English education students who have complete PLP or similar teaching practice activities consist of English language education student at Jambi University. And instrument of the researchers. The instrument that researcher use is questionnaire. There are some questions that must be done of the participant next. And then the technique of collecting data. The technique of collecting data, there are some steps. That is the first is prepare validated instruments. Instruments will be created with Google Form. I want to make a Google Form for this questionnaire. Then the instrument will be distributed online to each student who is designed it as the research sample. And then after distribution, student will be given about 1 week to work on the instrument. And then after 1 week or after a week, the researcher will download the result of the instrument that has been done by the student, and the data will be tabulated. And then the next part is technique of analyzing data. In this part, the data will be analyzed statistically using descriptive statistical method. And in this part, I want to use some application. I want to use Excel application, so I can know that the mean of the data that I get from the participant before they done to finish a question on the questionnaire that I have give for them. And then this is about my presentation about my seminar proposal. So for the question and message, okay, I think that's all about my seminar proposal. Thank you for the time, and Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.